Mercedes Mone is officially all elite as she makes her much anticipated debut last night on Dynamite Big Business at the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. She also came to the aid of her former rival Willow Nightingale in the main event of Dynamite Big Business. Plenty of details on what she said, her contract, as well as negotiations that she had with AEW and WWE as well. Samoa Joe defended the AEW World Championship last night at Big Business. Bullet Club have turned on the Acclaimed. Details on their heel turn and splitting up the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Details as well on how many tickets were distributed last night at the TD Garden in Boston, as well as the reported gate for the show. Kyle O'Reilly is set to compete in his first match in close to 2 years this weekend on AEW Collision. A Continental Championship match is confirmed for next week's edition of AEW Dynamite. Details on the next inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024. And Tony Khan welcomes the Stardom president backstage last night at Dynamite Big Business. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Mercedes Mone, the worst kept secret in professional wrestling, of course, but it's now been confirmed. Mercedes Mone is indeed all elite. Mercedes Mone has officially signed with AEW and the CEO has arrived. Mone made her debut to open AEW Dynamite Big Business in Boston to a raucous CEO chant from her hometown crowd. Mone thanked the crowd for having her back the past 2 years and giving her the courage and strength to be there. She said she'll be creating so many moments with the fans because every single fan is the reason she is now in AEW. She said, quote, "If you only knew how much tonight means to me, how much wrestling means to me," Mone said. She also shouted out her childhood hero, Eddie Guerrero. She said he always gave her hope that she too could wrestle one day. She looked to the heavens in the middle of the ring and thanked him. Mone also mentioned leading a woman's evolution and that her dreams made her the first ever woman to main event a pay-per-view in the same building Dynamite was being held in, that being the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Mone said she's been watching Dynamite week after week and she can't wait to tear it up with every woman in the locker room. Mone specifically called out Willow Nightingale as the crowd booed, and she said they have unfinished business. Of course, Mone suffered a serious ankle injury while facing Nightingale during the finals of the New Japan Strong Women's Championship tournament last year. The match's finish reportedly had to be changed on the fly, with Nightingale becoming the first ever New Japan Strong Women's Champion. It had been rumored for weeks that Mone would make her debut, and these rumors were fueled by AEW President Tony Khan branding the show Big Business. In fact, Mone has reportedly been signed to the company since really the beginning of 2024, going as far back as January. Now, when it comes to Mercedes, she wasn't just done in this opening segment. She came out once again later on in the evening to come to the aid of the person she said she has unfinished business with. Now, capping the Big Business episode of Dynamite, Willow Nightingale fought off a Game Riho in the main event before the lights went out, and she was confronted by the House of Black's Julia Hart and attacked from behind by Sky Blue. With the crowd chanting CEO, the newest addition to AEW's roster, Mercedes Mone, emerged from the back to make the save, dropping Blue on the ramp and delivering a boot to the face to Hart before taking her down with the Mone Maker. Mone's involvement after the main event means she bookended the show after kicking things off in spectacular fashion, featuring a new song and updated look while sending the crowd into a frenzy. Her debut, as I mentioned, was long rumoured and heavily implied since the announcement of Big Business, but that took away nothing from the crowd's enjoyment as they bought right in, imploring her to make the save for Nightingale, and rejoicing once again when she came out, wardrobe change and all, ready to take care of business fittingly. So seemingly there's going to be something going on here with Mone and Nightingale. Of course, Nightingale, who finished Riho after a doctor bomb, was Mone's last opponent, as I mentioned, back at New Japan Strong's Resurgence event when Mone suffered that injury. So what did you make of Mone's promo, and what do you make of her coming to the aid of Willow Nightingale to bookend last night's show? Let me know your thoughts and reactions to that in the comment section below. Now, we've got so many more details when it comes to Mercedes Mone signing with AEW. First of which is Tony Khan making it official that it's official. Mercedes Mone is all elite. Welcome to AEW, Mercedes Mone, Tony Khan said on social media. But so many more details have emerged about her becoming all elite and how this whole thing came together. And it comes courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, who says that Mercedes Mone is officially all elite after her debut on Big Business on March 13, but she's actually been all elite for quite some time. Sources reportedly confirmed to Fightful and Matt Men's Andrew Zarian that Mone has been on the AEW payroll for well over 2 months, with some sources saying that they believe the deal was effectively agreed upon back in December when Mercedes landed several trademarks in relation to her name. Now, those that Fightful have spoken to believe the contract is a multi-year deal. Fightful are working to confirm that. In addition, Fightful have been told that New Japan Pro Wrestling expects to be factored into this deal, and they were under the impression as of January that they would be able to continue to work with Mercedes in a big way. Sources in the company said they hoped they could pick up where they left off with her last year, but that AEW would be her priority. Of course, Mercedes suffered a severe injury last May that had her sidelined for 10 months. Fightful have been told that it required 2 surgeries, and even while she was negotiating other deals, it was made clear that she wasn't ready for an in-ring return. Now, to highlight the timeline of events here, Mercedes was brought in during AEW All In to appear in the crowd, and AEW believed that while no deal was signed, there was an understanding the two sides would work together in the future. Now, at the time, most didn't know exactly just how severe Mercedes' injury was, which Fightful have been told was just as bad as she indicated during a recent interview. Now, Fightful were told at various points Tony Khan didn't want to simply have Mercedes come out in a walking boot or on crutches and set fans up for something she wouldn't be able to see, or the fans wouldn't be able to see for quite some time. And when Fightful followed back up in early December, they were told that Mercedes and AEW no longer had working plans and that the two sides were far apart on terms. You remember that? We covered that report at the time back in December. She'd re-entered discussions with WWE by that point, but they also could not come to terms with the former SmackDown and Raw Women's Champion. Now, Fightful discovered internal language within WWE that a former WWE Champion would be appearing on the Day 1 edition of Raw, later to be revealed to be The Rock, of course. When Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp noted after the report of the internal language that it could have been anyone from Bob Backlund to Sasha Banks, WWE sources quickly shut the latter down. They confirmed in an official capacity that WWE and Mercedes had conversations, but as of late December, those were no longer ongoing and the two sides couldn't come to terms. WWE sources also called those conversations friendly and wished her luck, and said they expected her to sign or appear elsewhere pretty imminently. Not super imminently because it's been 2 months, but certainly around that time it was pretty much concrete she was going to be going to AEW. As I mentioned, as it turns out, even though she wouldn't appear for months, she did actually sign elsewhere imminently if she hadn't already. At that point, Fightful said they learned that AEW and Mercedes had re-entered talks and they'd expected to land her. Within the first week of January, there were already discussions about her debut, and some in the company even being told that both January 3rd and 10th were possibilities. However, Mercedes was not anywhere near physically cleared by that point. Those dates were passed on, and by January 4, Fightful learned that the company was planning to announce a show in Boston called Big Business, where Mercedes would debut without technically ever being announced, with Matt Men's Radio's Andrew Zarian learning the dates. They were able to confirm as much in the following weeks. In early January, reports emerged that New Japan Pro Wrestling had long planned or wanted to do a Mercedes Mone vs. Julia match at New Japan Battle in the Valley. Multiple frustrated sources within New Japan Pro Wrestling shot that notion down and clarified to Fightful that at no point since Mercedes' severe injury had it been indicated to them that she would be ready for Battle in the Valley and that it wasn't in the plans. They also noted that if she would have been good to go for Battle in the Valley, they likely would have booked her for Wrestle Kingdom as well, and didn't want fans to think they were holding anything back from either one of those shows. Now, throughout January, WWE sources, according to Fightful, were steadfast that they expected her to appear in AEW. They even made comments to Fightful during Royal Rumble week that not only did they hear she couldn't have been cleared for the highly speculated Royal Rumble appearance, but they weren't interested in contract tampering with her anyway, suggesting she'd already put pen to paper with AEW. By the time the Royal Rumble rolled around and she didn't show up there, Mercedes' impending AEW debut was pretty much a foregone conclusion to AEW wrestlers and staff, even beyond the reporting. Many gained word that a Boston TD Garden show was set for March and put 2 and 2 together, which has led us to what we saw last night. So that's a bit of a chronology, a bit of a timeline of how we got to where we are right now. It did take some time, but that's because of the nature of the injuries and the various talks with different promotions. So what are your thoughts overall on Mercedes Mone signing with AEW? Is it a game changer for them? Do you think it's going to lead to a change in the booking and a change in the perception of the heavily criticized AEW Women's Division? Of course, we did see the main event last night. Is that going to be kind of what's going to happen going forward with Mercedes Mone? Is this a good thing? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comments section below. Now, there was plenty of other things that happened last night at Big Business. Now, if Wardlow is going to fulfill the prophecy that Undisputed Kingdom leader Adam Cole foretold, it will have to happen somewhere else down the road, as Mr. Mayhem came up short against Samoa Joe in his challenge for the AEW World Championship on Dynamite Big Business. Earning his shot at the champion by way of winning the 8-man All-Star Scramble at AEW Revolution, Wardlow came out of the entry ramp flanked by Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions The Kingdom and AEW International Champion Roderick Strong, looking to add some gold of his own. He got off to a hot start, taking the match straight to the outside and showing all kinds of intensity, even ripping up a "Joe is gonna kill you" sign. Wardlow remained in control for the early portion of the match before Joe took control with an enziguri. Wardlow fought off an attempt at a top rope offense by Joe, hitting a whisper in the wind that wobbled both men for quite some time. Ultimately, after Wardlow missed a top rope senton, Joe took over with strikes before taking a powerbomb, but was then able to fend off a second, lock in the coquina clutch, and get the challenger to pass out. With that challenge out of the way, the champion didn't have but a handful of seconds to soak it in as Swerve Strickland made his way to the ring, plowing through security, getting Joe to retreat as he gave him a napping signal as he headed back up the ramp. So seemingly, we're still going to be getting Swerve Strickland versus Samoa Joe. I guess it's just a case of when. When do you think it's going to take place? Is it going to be Dynasty? Is it going to be Double or Nothing? Is it going to be later? Let me know your predictions about that as well. Now, Bullet Club seemingly have shown their true colours, that being Bullet Club Gold. The Bang Bang Scissor Gang is no more after Jay White and Bullet Club Gold beat down the Acclaimed at Dynamite Big Business. The attack came after White defeated Darby Allin before the former tag team champion leaves to climb Mount Everest. White went to shake Darby's hand but turned the extended hand into a gun, leading to the Guns attacking Darby Allin as White grabbed a chair and Sting's bat from ringside. The Guns wrapped the chair around Darby's ankle, but before White could hit it with the bat, the Acclaim's music hit and Max Caster, Anthony Bowens and Billy Gunn ran to the ring. Gunn got in White's face, leading to White to temporarily appear to back off, but after Gunn turned his back, White attacked him with the chair. Bowens and Caster got back in the ring and were beaten down by the Guns. White hit the Blade Runner on Gunn, and Colton and Austin Gunn brought Darby Allin back in the ring, where they once again placed the chair around his ankle. White hit it with the bat, seemingly writing Darby Allin off AEW television before he leaves for the Climb on March 27. Now, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang was formed during an episode of AEW Collision in January. The Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions joined forces with the AEW Trios champions to form the supergroup during the show in New Orleans after White and the Acclaimed had all been assaulted by the Undisputed Kingdom before the reveal of Adam Cole as the Devil. Now, speaking of Big Business, we've got more details when it comes to ticket sales last night as well. Now, AEW presented one of its biggest and most highly anticipated shows in the history of the company last night, AEW Big Business, taking place at the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. The show was highlighted by the long-pending arrival of Mercedes Mone, which was really the worst-kept secret by Tony Khan and crew. They'd been teasing it for months at this point. Now, it was reported by Dave Meltzer that AEW Big Business did a gate of $345,660, with 9,306 tickets distributed for the show. Now, more details when it comes to these numbers have been provided via WrestleTix Online. They've said the following quote: multiple sources have confirmed that AEW Big Business has distributed 9,400 plus tickets tonight. This would mean that any section I've partially credited, including several upper decks and sections on the hard cam side, would be fully distributed. As a general rule, if I don't see a section fully open, I only credit it for the amount I observe until the final count, where I can assess its occupancy with your assistance from pictures. I've also seen the reported gate number, which, when calculated, implies a much lower than usual average ticket price. This in turn suggests that complimentary tickets, comps, were likely distributed in the sections I previously partially credited. I'm hopeful pictures will help answer any questions I have about the originally partially observed sections on the hard cam side and upper tiers. If you're attending tonight's show, please reply below or DM me pictures of the crowd. Wide shots encouraged. Thanks. So that's kind of the number, or at least the reported number, when it comes to tickets distributed last night as well in the gate. What are your thoughts on reportedly over 9,400 tickets being distributed? How many of them do you think are paid? How many of them do you think are comps? Is that a good number? Let me know your thoughts and reaction to that as well. Now, Kyle O'Reilly is back in action, or is going to be for the first time in close to 2 years. On last night's Dynamite, AEW star Kyle O'Reilly revealed he will make his in-ring return for the first time in close to 2 years. O'Reilly was also faced with his former friend in the segment, where it was revealed he would be taking on the bounty hunter Brian Keith. with Roderick Strong joining Kyle O'Reilly along with the Kingdom's Matt Taven and Mike Bennett on screen, he seemed to address the in-ring moment upon O'Reilly's return at Revolution, where O'Reilly seemed to congratulate Strong on winning the International Championship, but rejected an offer to join the Undisputed Kingdom. Strong noted that he respected that Kyle O'Reilly has said he wants to make his return on his own and wished him luck on his collision match against Keith. Seemingly processing that he would really be all alone, O'Reilly was left with a contemplative expression to end the segment. So Kyle O'Reilly back in action this coming weekend. Now, what about Dynamite next week? We know several matches have been announced, one of which, though, is going to be a title match. Yes, Eddie Kingston will defend gold on the March 20 episode of AEW Dynamite. Tony Khan announced that Kazuchika Okada will challenge Eddie Kingston for the AEW Continental Championship under Continental rules with no outside interference. Okada debuted on the March 6 episode of Dynamite and attacked Kingston. He then pinned Kingston in a trios match last night at Dynamite Big Business. Additionally, following her debut at Big Business, Mercedes Mone will appear on March 20 as well. Plus, after Hook and Chris Jericho defeated the Gates of Agony last night, they will clash in a singles match. As previously announced, Christian Cage will defend the TNT Championship against Adam Copeland in an I Quit match as well. Now, some more details when it comes to the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024 too. WWE is rounding up this year's slate of Hall of Fame inductions, and a new report from the Wrestling Observer shines a light on two more names who could possibly be inducted at this year's ceremony in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. According to The Observer, Leah Maivia, former wrestling promoter and grandmother to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has been confirmed as an inductee in this year's class. A WWE source confirmed Maivia would join Thunderbolt Patterson, Paul Heyman, Bull Nakano, Muhammad Ali, and the US Express's Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham. A list recently circulated with all of the mentioned names, as well as the late Bray Wyatt, but The Observer was unable to confirm that Wyatt, real name Windham Rotunda, as an inductee. Wyatt, the son of inductee Mike Rotunda and nephew of Barry Windham, suddenly passed away last year at the age of 36. Of course, this year's Hall of Fame ceremony is the first one put together without the input of longtime WWE figurehead Vince McMahon, who has retired, or at least resigned, from the TKO board of directors amid the serious allegations made against him in a recent lawsuit. Maivia's grandson, The Rock, is also said to have a certain amount of say in this year's ceremony as a result of his new place on the TKO Group Holdings board of directors. The WWE Hall of Fame ceremony will take place on April 5th after SmackDown, that being the final SmackDown before WrestleMania. And finally, going back to Big Business last night, AEW President Tony Khan welcomed another company's president to Big Business in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, on Wednesday afternoon, Tony Khan took to social media to share a photo of himself alongside Stardom President Taro Okada backstage at the TD Garden. He said, quote, "It's an honor to have Taro Okada, the president of Stardom, here with us tonight at the TD Garden in Boston for this evening, Wednesday's night, AEW Dynamite. We're ready for some big business." Of course, Mercedes Mone previously appeared for Stardom at their All-Star Grand Queendom event in April 2023, where she lost to Mayu Iwatani for the IWGP Women's Championship. So possibly an indication we're going to be seeing more of Mone in Stardom moving forward. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.